everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be showing you how I make my own Korean rice bowl or bibimbap. And a very important part of Korean rice bowl or bibimbap is of course the rice. You wash it first. Please skip this step or please fast forward if you already know how to make the rice. So pretty much the measurement is 1:1. You just use 1 cup of rice and 1 cup of water. This is the Filipino way or Filipino hack of measuring the rice. We use our fingers and you just chuck it in the microwave. Or if you have a rice cooker, you're very much welcome to use it as well, whatever your preference is. And here are the ingredients for the Korean beef. And we start off with soy sauce. I used half a cup of it. And apple cider vinegar, I used 1/4 cup. And some sesame oil. This is a very important ingredient. I used half a cup. And just a tip, if you want to grate your garlic and ginger easier, you will have to freeze them first. And you can use some sesame seeds as well, preferably the white ones. Also, you're gonna need some brown sugar. I used 3 tablespoons. And then you're gonna use some honey. I used roughly around 4 tablespoons of honey. And the star of the show is your thin beef strips. They have to be thin so that they cook easier. So the gochujang paste or Korean chili paste will provide the heat for this dish. Just a side note, if you really want to get the authentic flavors on this dish, you will have to use gochujang and sesame oil. Now for the marinade, we just have to mix all of the said ingredients in a bowl. There you go, the sesame oil. And you add the sugar. For this dish, I actually used store-bought ginger and garlic. They're also minced or grated. So you just add it in to the mixture. And the honey for sweetness. And the sesame seeds. I forgot to mention that in the ingredient list that I used pepper. It's actually optional. I just like using pepper in my dishes for some reason. And you just mix it all together. You just keep stirring until the sugar and honey mixes well or the sugar melts into the sauce or marinade. And finally, you put or add the thin cut beef into your mixture to marinate your meat. Now, I'm not too sure if this is the exact recipe for it because like what I said, I'm not a professional chef. I'm just a foodie who loves to replicate dishes. But this is the exact same marinade that I use when I make my Korean barbecue with beef. And we set it aside and let it marinate while we prepare our vegetable toppings. We start off with carrots, cabbage, and one of my favorite vegetables are bean sprouts, or we call it toge in Filipino as well. And you also add in some of that spinach. And this is fish sauce or patis in Filipino and some garlic or bawang. And I use some salt just to give it a bit of taste when I cook the vegetables. So I heat some oil in the pan and you add the carrots in. You just let it cook for like 2 minutes so you retain some of the flavor and the crunch. And you do the same with the spinach. You add a bit of salt. You just let it on for 2 minutes. And you also do the same for the cabbage. You don't let it overcook because you want to retain some of that sweet, fresh, juicy crunch that the vegetable has. And lastly, we're gonna drizzle some oil on the pan. I made it last because I'm going to mix fish sauce and garlic in it. So you just add the bean sprouts, garlic, and the fish sauce, and you just give it a good stir. Let it cook for 2 minutes. You need to be careful not to overcook the bean sprout because if you do, they're gonna go soggy. And now for the star of the show, the beef toppings. So I just drizzled some sesame oil in the pan, and once hot enough, and that's where we add the beef from our marinade mix. So you just pretty much let it cook for like 5 to 10 minutes. And you have to be careful with the heat. You have to use low heat, otherwise you'll burn the soy sauce. And you'll also burn the honey and the sugar. And you don't want that to happen to your beef topping. You just give it a good stir. It's just like preparing Korean barbecue pretty much. Ooh, and hear that sizzle. I wish you guys can smell how nice it is. And here's our vegetable toppings for our bibimbap. Can you see how nice those vegetables look? You see they've retained the color because you want it to have a nice color when you put it on your bibimbap bowl. because it just makes it a lot more appetizing to eat, especially if you're gonna mix it later. So now for setting up our bowl, the fun part, so you just put the rice at the bottom. I used a cup, and you set it up by putting carrots on top, and then your bean sprouts and your cabbage and your spinach, and you save a bit of space for the star of the show, which is the beef, the Korean beef. You guys, it looks so pretty in person. Look at all those colors. With the gochujang paste or the Korean chili paste, you have to be very careful with how much chili or gochujang you add into your dish, because you don't want it to be super spicy. You can just add a bit later on. And guys, I forgot to say, but I put a fried egg. It's just sunny side up egg pretty much. And there you have it, guys, your Korean bibimbap. Apparently it translates to mixed rice with meat and assorted vegetables. You can also make endless variations to this dish depending on your preference and dietary requirements. Also, don't forget to be careful with the soy sauce. You don't want to make it too salty, and the gochujang, you don't want to make it too spicy. Look at that, it's so pretty. Look at those colors of those vegetables. And now for the moment of truth, you guys. Here's my husband Mark. He's my audience, my #1 fan, and my judge. As if he has a choice, right? He has to deal with my cooking every day. Also, I forgot to tell you guys that you have to make sure that when you fry your egg, you keep that yolk runny, because that will give added creaminess to the Korean bibimbap. And that's a wrap, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you on my next vlog. Bye!